Hey YouTube, Ed here with Jack of all trades and welcome to another video. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about the Taurus 605 357 Magnum Revolver. So let's get right into this discussion and let's have a talk about this handgun. And welcome back. So yes, today we're going to talk about the Taurus 605 357 Magnum Revolver. But before we do, as per the usual, I got to ask you to go down and hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure you ring that notification bell so you get notified of upcoming videos. And hit me with those comments. Anything you want me to do or review or test out here on the Jack of all trades channel, let me know and I'll do the darndest I can to try and get it done. Also, fun little game. My wife tells me my beard is getting a little bit on the scary side, and she has requested respectfully that I trim it. Why don't you hit me in some comments on what you think I should do with my beard? Other than shaving it completely off. That is something I will not do because I just don't look good clean shaven anymore. But let me know what you think I should do with my beard. Should I do something fun with it? Let me know, and I will certainly consider it. All right, let's talk about the Taurus 605 357 Revolver. We have a completely empty firearm here, so we are dealing with a safe firearm. There are no shells in the cylinder. So what have we got here? The 605 357 Magnum, neat thing about this is it will fire 357 Magnum and 38 specials. And being as how it is a 357 Magnum, it is also good for the plus Ps, which is nice for a concealed carry handgun. We've got a revolver that from nose to tail is about 6.5 inches long. It's a little over 4.5 inches high, and it's about 1.25 inches wide at the widest point. So a very nice, small concealed carry handgun. The frame is a steel alloy frame, as is the cylinder, and it is covered with a black oxide finish, and it comes with a factory rubber grip on it. Like most revolvers are nowadays, this is both single action and double action. So you can either cock it to shoot it, or you can just pull the trigger to shoot it. I don't want to dry fire it here, but it is single action or double action. So with that, let's go ahead and relocate the camera to the bench and let's talk about the Taurus 605. All right, the Taurus 605, 24 ounces worth of 357 5-shot personal defense handgun. What are some of the things that I like about this gun? First off, it's fairly economical. You can get into these if you look for them. You can get into them on sale for anywhere from $350 to, MSRP is $420 on them. So they're fairly economical to own, and you're dealing with a good quality company in Taurus. Taurus does a really nice job of quality control, and if memory serves me right, I do believe they have a lifetime warranty on all their firearms from manufacturer defect or malfunction. So they're very economical to buy. They're lightweight to carry, although this isn't the lightest handgun in the world at 24 ounces. And then once you add 5 shells to it, it weighs a little more, obviously. But it certainly isn't bad. It's very thin in the profile, so it's very easy to carry. The weight is there, but it's not obtrusive, and it shouldn't really be a problem for concealed carry. The trigger pull is extremely smooth on these. In single action, you've got a pretty good 4 pounds, 5 ounces to 4 pounds, 8 ounces worth of trigger. It's very crisp. It's very positive. Cocking the hammer on this is certainly the more accurate way to shoot it. If you're going to shoot it double action, and I will dry fire it once, and we will verify the firearm is empty, no shells. To double action fire it, you've got a very long, and you also have an exceedingly heavy trigger pull in double action. It takes a full 12 pounds worth of trigger pull to shoot this thing in double action mode. It actually made me a little worried when I was pulling it with my trigger pull scale, because my trigger pull scale is only good to 12 pounds, and I was exceeding the limits of my trigger pull scale when I measured it. but it does have an extremely heavy double action trigger pull on it. I will say that when you are cocking the hammer and you're shooting this out of a single action mode, the trigger on this gun it's sweet. I love it. I absolutely love the trigger on this in single action mode. It is really nice and super crisp. Like I said, 4.5 pounds, somewhere in there for that trigger pull. It's just really, really nice. I've shot this quite a few times. It works perfectly. It works flawlessly. And for a 2-inch snub nose revolver, it is surprisingly accurate in that 10 to 12 yard range. And if you've watched any of my videos long enough, you know that when I'm doing reviews or when I'm using or testing concealed carry handguns such as a 2-inch snub nose like this, 10 or 12 yards, maybe 15 yards is actually a very realistic range to be shooting these things at. If you're shooting these things at 50 or above yards, you're kind of just showing off or kind of shooting into the wind, because it's really not necessary, and it certainly isn't realistic for a gun like this. So it's plenty accurate enough for a man-sized target, 10 to 12, 15 yards, no problems there whatsoever. That is well in excess of the 21-foot rule. For those of you who don't know what the 21-foot rule is, when they train FBI and police officers and the like, at 21 feet, it takes about 1.5 seconds for an average human being to close the distance to being in arm's length of you in a defensive situation. So understand that, and if you're at 30 feet, you're outside of that 21-foot range in a defensive posture. The nice thing about this is being 357 is it will shoot 38 specials as well, and it will shoot 38 special plus Ps. Ammunition I fired out of this, I've fired 130 grain full metal jackets out of this, the practice ammunition. It's very, very pleasant to shoot. That was in 38 special. I've also shot the 38 special plus P critical defense ammo. Both the 38 special ammos were very, very pleasant to shoot out of this. You start getting up into something like the 357. Now you're talking about a whole different kind of animal, and this thing will buck in your hands, and it will actually make your hands sting a little bit. There is a lot of punch, and I was shooting 158 grain semi-wad cutters. There is a lot of punch to that 357 Magnum coming out of a small platform like this. It is only got enough room for 2 fingers when you're gripping onto it. There is nothing down there for your 3rd finger, but that rubber grip, and then it does give you a little shelf here to rest your thumb on. It is pretty easy to control, especially when using 38 specials. You can certainly shoot 357s out of it fine, but like I said, be prepared to feel a little bit of a sting in the back of palm of your hand, because this thing is going to hit you pretty good with 357 loads in it. If you're going to shoot this thing double action, you better be fully expecting to do a lot of practice with it, because that is an exceedingly long, heavy trigger pull at 12 pounds. It's something else. It takes a lot of effort and a lot of concentration to shoot this well at double action, especially for a guy like me who just doesn't shoot double action very often. I have never ever claimed to be a great pistol shot, and I'm certainly not as good with a double action as I would be with a single action. Another downside would be the 5-shot cylinder. Now, when you're buying a handgun like this, you know it's 5 shots when you buy it, and the whole point would be that you hope you don't need any more than 1 or 2. But the fact is you do have limited ammunition capacity with this, and to have 6 shots, the cylinder would have to be so much bigger that it would actually be much more difficult to carry. So they slimmed it down by putting in 5 shots. And that's about as thin as they want to make the cylinder wall to still be able to handle 357 Magnum. The other thing I found with this is that the 357 Magnum shells, at least the ones that I was shooting, have a tendency to stick in the cylinder. And when I mean they stick pretty hard. When you open the cylinder up and you push the extraction rod, they release with a pop. And I mean, you really have to push the extraction rod quite hard, because those 357 Magnum cases do expand in the cylinder a little bit. The other thing I noticed is that the push rod doesn't go nearly long enough to get the 38 specials completely out, but they're loose enough where they do fall out. With the 357 Magnums, if they don't come out with a pop, you are going to have to pull them the rest of the way out by hand. So that is kind of a downside of this. When I carry this, I typically carry it with 38 special critical defense ammunition, because then I know I can get a faster reload, because I can I can have the shells just fall right out. All in all, I'm kind of digging this little pistol, and I really don't have a whole lot of complaints other than the fact that when you're shooting 357, you know you're hanging on to something because it's got a wallop to it. Additionally, one other gripe I have about the gun is that the sights are blacked out, and this is something that's easily fixable. I do notice that when I'm shooting at targets that are, say, in a shadow or something like that, it's very, very hard to pick up the front sight in the rear notch sight in the back, and these are completely unadjustable. But that is a fixable thing. I can just go ahead and I'm going to take some white or silver iridescent paint, or luminescent paint, I should say, and I'm going to just paint that front sight so it's a little easier to see. So at the end of the day, what do I think of the Taurus 605? I actually really like the little gun. Yes, it has some downfalls to it. It only holds 5 shots, but it is a revolver, so that's kind of to be expected. It does have an exceedingly long, heavy trigger pull and double action. But the good side of that is it's a very safe gun to carry because there's almost no way you're going to have an accidental discharge when you're unholstering this thing in the God forbid event that you would ever need to use it. Overall, I really like it. I like the way the rubber grips feel in my hand. I like the good serrations they've got on the top of the hammer, which makes it very easy to grab a hold of the top of the hammer to cock it so you can shoot it in single action if you want to. All the controls and mechanisms work really, really well. I'm just very pleased with the overall quality and the shootability and the carryability of this. If I do have a gripe, it's the way this thing shoots with 357, and I don't really think that's anything that Taurus can do. When you're building a handgun like this, you're going to have some things like that you just can't mitigate. There's no way to mitigate that problem because you're dealing with a compact revolver pistol. And when you start putting it around like a 357 Magnum with a 158 grain semi-wad cutter bullet, it's going to let you know it's there, and it's going to let you know you're alive. So overall, I give the Taurus 605 a thumbs up rating. I really like the gun. I'm not at all disappointed I bought it. Now, I picked this up off of a internet site. I think I paid about $350 plus shipping for it. So it was really well worth it for me to pick this gun up, and I really like the fact that I have it, and I'm glad that I do have it. And I do carry this gun on quite a regular occasion. So let's go ahead and wrap this video up. Now, as always, if you're liking what you see here on the Jack of All Trades channel and you like what I'm doing out here, you'd be doing me a huge solid by hitting that like and subscribe button, and hit me with those comments. I really do enjoy interacting with everybody in the comments section. With that, let's sign off. This is Ed with Jack of All Trades. As always, thank you for stopping by, and we will see you on the next video.